there was an interesting video that I saw on TikTok that if you're looking at the video, it doesn't necessarily correlate with dating until you start to really think about what this person's saying. So Jennifer Coolidge, who's an actress, she was in American Pie, that's where she got really big, and she's been in some other stuff since then. But she was doing a talk, and somebody asked her about how to deal with self-doubt. All right. And so I thought that the answer she gave really parallels well with dating, because there are so many of you guys out there that, you know, you might have these thoughts of, well, I can't date a certain type of person, or these women are out of my league and I can't really get them. Why should I think that I'd qualify enough to be able to get these kind of women that I really want? So I want you guys to check out this video real quick so we can see what her response was to how to deal with self-doubt.
One of the best things to cure self-doubt is just to go to really bad stuff. I'm talking about plays you hear about that are terrible. Go to them. There's shows on television that are terrible. Watch them. No, because it's like, I'll tell you how I got this idea. I was like in college, and I just hated myself, and I was so full of self-doubt. And I went to this terrible production of Oliver. I mean, everyone was bad in it, the whole show. I mean, it was just, and I felt like the seas had parted. I felt like I had a chance in this world. Not the good stuff. The good stuff is just intimidating, and you're like, how could I ever fucking do that?
What she's talking about here is that she used to have self-doubt, and then she would get herself out of that by going to see these terrible, terrible things. But why would she do that? Well, because understand that these terrible things that she thought had terrible quality value to them, somebody put up money for these things. Somebody was in a writer's room when these things were being pitched or being written, and it got to air, they got to stage, which means somebody out there, in spite of how bad this thing was, somebody still believed enough in them to be like, yes, we'll produce that. And so how does this now parallel with your dating life? Well, like I said before, sometimes you may doubt whether or not you are good enough for a woman to take on. You might think that you're just the lamest guy ever, and that this girl's a hot 10, and you think you're a 4 at best, and no girl would ever want to date you. And I used to have these same thoughts about myself. And then what I started doing was I started looking out into the world, and I saw dudes that, if I'm being judgmental, were not as attractive as me, or in some cases were on the same level as me. Like we had a similar style look. We were into kind of similar things. And those guys were able to get the women that I wanted. And I really had to start thinking about, you know, I have all this doubt on myself, and therefore I'm blocking myself from going after these women, or from putting myself in spaces where they would be able to find me and want to potentially meet me and date me. And yet there are guys out there that look like me or are worse than me look-wise, and maybe even lifestyle-wise. Like there was a point in time when I had like a decent job and I had money flowing in, and I couldn't get a woman. And I'd see dudes that were just like bumming on the couch or living with their parents that were getting like the hottest of women. And you should be able to look at each of those scenarios and say, if that guy can get hot women, then what's holding me back? You know, if you're ever doubting in this world that no women would ever want you, if you become really observant and look at the guys around you, just go to a park one day or go to like the mall, right? And just spend like 30 minutes to an hour sitting on a bench and just looking at all the men walking by you with girlfriends or wives. And you will find there are some schlumpy guys out there that have women fawning all over him. It's just like, and a couple of weeks ago, I talked in a show about how I went to my cousin's funeral, and I'm standing behind a couple where this dude's like 5'7" and the woman's like 6 foot, right? Well, most small dudes will be like, I'm small, I can't get a woman, women aren't gonna like me. And yet this dude got a pretty fairly attractive woman just in spite of his height. The only difference between that guy and you is that guy believed enough to not let her height be intimidating and still say, I still have value, I still have worth, and I'm not gonna let self-doubt prevent me from at least saying hello to this woman. And now they got a kid. So I show that video to say that you as a guy, if you have any kind of self-doubt, I assure you, there are many, many other guys out there just like you or worse that have the women that you want. The only difference is, do you believe you can get those women? If you don't, then you're the reason that you're not getting those women, not the women. All right? Just wanted to throw that out there.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a hot
high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a